Italy's Prime Minister says that this spending will boost economic growth, but is it just too risky for the EU to accept?
Well, that's what the word in Brussels is. One economist I spoke to yesterday from Bruegel, Gregory Clay, said they're not even trying to fake it. He said the Italian government had taken a very confrontational stance in this latest dispute, and he said that they really should do much better. Now, also as concern, even though yesterday, of course, that 4-page letter that Elena pointed out there in that report struck a more conciliatory tone, and it said that the Italian government was just adapting, if you like, to the current climate. The thing is, though, back in June, when this new Italian government took over, they inherited as well an objective to reduce the budget deficit to 0.7% by 2019. But in the end, they decided to go the absolute other way and increase it to 2.4% by 2019. And some in this town, economists from both the European Commission and the IMF, believe that their forecasts are just too optimistic. On top of that, we've seen countries like Austria and countries like Netherlands weigh in to offer their take on this whole confrontation. And Austria, for example, their Chancellor Sebastian Kurz said just yesterday that they will not be paying up when it comes to Italy, and that Italy would have to obey by the rules. The same stance coming as well from the Netherlands.
And what's next in this standoff? How do you break the deadlock?
Well, today we'll see Pierre Moscovici, that's the EU's Finance Commissioner, gather his fellow commissioners in Strasbourg to discuss the Italian draft budget for 2019. And economists here believe that it's hard for the Commission now to be lenient like they were in the past with France and Germany, because back then they could cite exceptional circumstances. But in this stage, in this situation, the Italian government is actually taking back reforms that were introduced a couple of years ago when it comes to pensions, for example. So time, of course, will tell, but the European Commission does have tools at its disposal in the Stability and Growth Pact. It could eventually sanction or fine and punish the Italian government, even cut off some of its cohesion funds. But many reckon it's likely not to go that far, because one does know that over in Italy, Euroscepticism is on the rise. There was a Eurobarometer out last week that said 4 in 10 Europeans weren't that fond of the European Union project. Many media, of course, as you can imagine, has been discussing this as well in the newspapers the last few days, and some over in Germany believe that the European Commission should take a more lenient approach on Italy and ask them to fight corruption and work in other areas instead of really coming to blows on this. So time, of course, will tell.